Thank you for using the tip to relax yourself. That was nice. So, good morning, everyone. We have completed unit number 5 and we have a unit test today. So, before we take the unit test, we'll do a quick revision of unit number 5. So, unit 5, the title is Etiquettes. So, we begin with the introduction to what is an etiquette. Etiquettes is actually a code of behavior, the way in which you behave in particular groups, which makes our life more civilized. The way we behave in groups of people, maybe it's personal groups or maybe it's professional groups. It is about making people comfortable with the way in which you behave, the manners that you display when you meet others and interact with others. So we begin with telephone etiquettes. Telephone etiquettes, or we can also replace the word over here with mobile. But remember, when there are organizations still till date, though we think that telephones are outdated, people would have a telephone, right? So this etiquettes also apply to mobile phone usage as well. So in a telephonic conversation, it's not only the way how you speak and listen, but it also includes how you respond and how you hang up the phone. Now, telephone etiquette would be inclusive of before you initiate the call, during the call, and after the call. And then there are certain situations that come, like the call is disconnected due to whatever so reason, right? So before you start a call, what you need to do is you need to prepare a little preparation. Remember, in professional setups, everything is a three-step process: the before part, the during part, and the after part. Right. So what kind of preparations do you need to do? The very first thing, you should know why, the purpose. Wherever we have talked about workplace situations, workplace documentations, workplace communication, we have talked about the purpose. So the utmost important thing that you need to do is you need to know the purpose. Why are you making this call? Sometimes it so happens that when you call, you actually forget for what reason you have called, right? So for that, you have to be prepared. Why do you want to do it? You may always have a habit of jotting down points in a notebook or a diary, so that you remember exactly why you have called, what are the answers that have been given. You can note information as well. It is important to have a notepad and a pen ready when you are making a business call. That is being called preparedness for the call. Then in case you are calling, make sure you do not call from a landline, or if you call from a landline, make sure you give the person your mobile number which you would pick up. Remember, the phone would not directly be received by the person to whom you have to call. There would be always a mediator, or let's say the receptionist or the person who receives the call. Make sure the first thing that you do is you introduce yourself, give a background of your organization, and clearly mention to whom you want to talk to. One must remain patient while the phone is being transferred, and again reintroduce yourself when your phone is picked up by the desired person. Now, undesirable situations like disconnection of phone in between the talk might happen due to various reasons, but it is a code of conduct or a code of manner that you need to reconnect or redial the call in case it is disconnected suddenly, and apologize for the same or any kind of inconvenience that has been caused due to this disconnection of phone. Always try to develop a conversation in the telephone and not have just yes and no answers, question answers. You may use telephone courtesies like may I request you to transfer the phone to, I would like to speak to this person, etc. Right? Remember when you are calling, select a quiet place before you decide upon a call so that disturbances do not disturb the conversation. Moreover, we have to remember that confidential matters should never be discussed over the phone because there is always this fear of being overheard or tapped. In case it is inevitable to discuss this confidential matter, you should always ask the receiver that is it okay uh, to talk about this project on the telephone so that it may help you as well as the receiver avoid embarrassing situations. Next, we did for etiquette for foreign business trips. Uh, Remember, now we have become every workplace has become a global workplace. People are extending their branches over the world. So, what kind of things do we need to take care when we become a part of a foreign business trip? So, first thing, we should learn about that particular place, the behaviors and etiquettes that they are followed there, so that uh, it will help you avoid embarrassing situation or fox pass, as the technical term suggests. Business trips are more about business and less about holidays, so you should be behaving accordingly. Uh, it is good that now most of us and most of the countries where we go to speak English, it's become the lingua franca or the global language link. But yet again, it would be nice if you learn a few phrases of the country where you are visiting to. It helps uh, create a connection between you and the host. There are many applications that you can use for help that can help you translate the local language to English and vice versa. Remember, it's more business and less holidaying, so you should be very professional and should not be discussing any personal matters either of yourself or of the colleagues that you have. Remember to greet people and end with pleasantries. Also, try and understand how people are addressed. At few places, people would be addressed with their first name, certain with the last name, or certain with the family names. So please try and understand the addressing part. Next would be giving gifts or souvenirs is considered to be a part of a humanizing gesture that you have towards the host. And when you give and exchange gifts, it remains as a memory. And if you happen to visit the same place again, people would take that into account. Try to understand the temporal practices. Temporal practices means the time practices of different countries. Every country has its own time practice. Let's say we had taken an example of Japan, that if a meeting is set for 1 p.m., it means you should be all set by 12:45. And that's how they read time or they practice time. Uh, Remember, you have visited a place for your business trip, and each place is unique in itself. Try to respect the uniqueness and differences of the country and praise the country, do not critique the country. One more thing that you need to remember is handling social media. As I said, we have to keep it always at the back of our mind that it's a business trip and not a holiday. So certain countries would have laws related to the internet services and policies related to the internet services and usage of social media websites, which you should not breach or break, because it's not going to be a healthy relationship if you break any laws of a country, right? They won't not want to do business with person like you. Next, we should not forget our colleagues back at home. Because you got a chance to travel to foreign, they had to also take care of your work. Remember to carry back some small gifts or souvenirs for them as well. Next, we talked about visits to foreign counterparts. So you have to respect the foreign clients' beliefs and cultural needs, and we should try and not make them feel like strangers. right? Because they are the people with whom we are going to deal for a longer duration of time. So what you can do is, the few specific tips that we had is, we can always have a translator, so that he or she can be a connecting link between you and the foreign client, so that they can talk in the same language. Language barrier is removed. uh, Learning a few words of greetings and exchanging pleasantries in the visitor's native language would be a good option. Remember always to prepare documents in both the languages, that is English and the native language. Such kind of mannerisms, when they are followed, it would help a smooth transition in business. Now, there are certain countries that we discussed about, and a few of them I'll highlight is, one, exchanging of business cards, which is very important. Two, punctuality is the utmost important form of courtesy in business. Giving gifts and presents as mementos is one of the things that's happened in business. Remember, for the Japanese businessmen, we had a special note that red colored cards are funeral notices, so you should not be sending a red card, uh, red greeting cards, in when dealing with Japanese businessmen. Then you have got the Arabs. Arab businessmen, men are known for their, men and women, or person, will take it as person. They are known for their lavish gatherings. They are warm-hearted, and they would greet the host and the visitors with the way of their own traditional greetings. Indian business people have become global, and now they are making a good balance between modernity and tradition. Here, still, in Indian business culture, we have the protocol of following the seniors. So, if a junior person needs to talk, he has to wait for the senior to signal him to talk. People are received with great warmth and utmost attention and respect. Next, we had etiquettes for small talks. Small talks is a kind of an icebreaker that helps you develop longer conversations. They help you work your way into talking with people. Small talks is a very valuable thing, because you start small. It's like taking your first steps and then moving ahead to reach achieved to achieve desired goals. It is essential for enriching and creating business relationships. One can harvest big gains with small talks, and to expand one's circle of friends, one must try and engage talking with strangers. The strangers have the potential to become good friends, long-term clients, valued associates, and bridges. They help you bridge to new experiences. Remember, though, there is a saying that says that silence is golden, but now in this modern era, let's say not even modern, the postmodern era, silence is considered to be impolite. One must not wait for the host to introduce oneself. One must try and mingle on one's own. At times when it is hard to start a talk, be a good listener, so that you can understand what kind of talking can happen, and then you can join in or chip in. Next, respecting privacy. Privacy is something which means freedom from interference or intrusion. When we are working with some organization, there is some part of an information that needs to be submitted with the organization. There is a lot of the word privacy has been discussed a lot, and there are many different definitions of the same. But most of the time, it means the right to reserve information, the right to be reserving information with the individual, how much to inform and how much not to. Now, whenever employees join an organization, they are supposed to submit some form of information there. Now, the employer must respect the employees' uh, privacy by uh, maintaining the information with themselves. And even if the information is to be disclosed, they need to priorly ask, inform and take the consent of the employees, right? Next, learning to say no. Yes, people who say yes all the time can never become great. Learning to say no is something which gives you empowerment and a sense of you being in the driver's seat of your life. Most of the times we are habituated to say yes, so the same happens. Even if we want to say no, we won't be saying no and we'll be saying a yes only. We are social human beings, are social animals that depend on reciprocity. So you reciprocate, and sometimes under obligation you have to say yes. But remember, you cannot. You are also not only a social animal, but you are also a human being. So you will be overburdening yourself when every time you say a yes. So remember that when you say no, it does not mean that you are not a good person. It means that you are a person who is quite sorted out what to keep in which priority. So one should learn to say no. You should know your own value and do not only depend on the opinions of others for yourself. And whenever you say yes, you must ask yourself a question that whether it is worth saying yes. Right? A few tips for saying no would be do not apologize and give all sort of different reasons, or don't say I'll think about it, because it will elongate the process. Say no, but also very courteously say thank you for asking me, but I'm really not interested this time, or I do not have time. Something like that would be really helpful. The last topic was time management, managing time properly. So giving proper time to proper things at the proper moment. Time management would allow a person to work efficiently and reach his or her goals. The different ways of managing time are setting goals and objectives, effective planning, setting deadlines, delegation of responsibilities, prioritizing activities as per the importance, and spending the right time on the right activity. For managing time effectively, one needs to be organized, one needs to not misuse time, and one needs to be focused. These are the three things you need to do when you manage time. So with this, we complete the quick revision of unit number 5. We'll now move on to our unit test. So just give me a moment. I'll be sharing the link of the test in the chat box. So there you go. You have the test link pasted in the chat box. You may start attempting your test now.